और तीसरी चीज मैम ऐसा है ना कि मैं एलोकेशन भी आपको बढ़ाऊं, दैट डजंट मीन that entire money can be spent only on educational leads. एजुकेशनल इंस्ट्रूमेंट की कॉस्ट कितनी बढ़ती है वो इंडस्ट्री देखो, नंबर 1। और जैसा मैं डिफेंस में एलोकेशन बढ़ता हूं, उसका मतलब आज मैंने 6 लाख करोड़ दिया, ये बजट में दिया है, तो क्या 6 लाख करोड़ का कल जाके मैं आर्म्स नहीं लेने वाला? सो द रियल मार्क विच मेक्स इट, for what purpose out of that allocation I am really spending the money. So let us start concentrating, and that's what new education policy is. मुझे डिग्री नहीं चाहिए, मुझे वो डिग्री की वैल्यू चाहिए।
Requesting last 2 questions from audience. Yes.
It was a really wonderful session, and a lot of information I received from it. Thank you. Before asking my question, I first wanted I just added up all your experience of all of you, 35 years in capital markets economics. So it's almost like more than a century. So if you find my question a little too simple, please excuse me. The question goes like this. So we already talked about defense a lot, but still the question is on the same defense. In the last year, the defense spending was, I think, 1.4 lakh crores, and this year it is estimated to around 1.52 lakh crores. Okay, so it's like around 10% increase. So our GDP in nominal terms grew by 14%, but still defense budget was less than the GDP growth rate, in nominal terms at least. So and given the situation, China is on all the borders, right from Arunachal to Leh Ladakh, the situation in Pakistan can flare up anytime. There can be two front war anytime. So why is and other railways you pointed out was increased from 1.4 to 2.4. Even highways has been given a lot of boost. So why not defense? And does it mean that I also know that this is we can have to look more not just the numbers and the undertone of what the government is saying. So does it mean that Modi the government is saying that we have enough resources to handle this war even at the two front, and that's why again from a position of strength, what you pointed out, is this the undertone behind not increasing the defense budget? This is the question, sir.
Two things. If that question is addressed to me, Chandras can also additionally put that. In reality, the defense budget has gone up as far as this budget is concerned. It has not gone down. Wait. Let me complete. See, when you talk about defense, I'm not defensive or I'm not holding a brief on behalf of a government. This is my interpretation. One thing is very clear, that defense is a matter of continuous policy. And defense is not merely a matter of 1 year shelf life. Point number 1. Point number 2, when we talk about defense, gone are the days when Indian defense sector were purely and totally dependent on government helps or a government allocation. As far as defense industry is concerned, I may sound harsh, but it's a fact of life. That defense is one of the beneficiary of Corona. I will tell you why. If you recollect, somewhere in March 2020, our Honorable Prime Minister came online, which Chandrahas was referring to his introductory, and he put a lockdown for 3 weeks. And then for next 5 days, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and then Finance Minister of State for Anurag Singh Thakur conducted consecutive 5 days of press conferences. All those press conferences ad verbatim are available on website of a Ministry of Finance. On 4th day, both of them made an announcement related to defense. And those 2 announcements are fantastic. First, he said that in next 5 years, that is by March 2025, at least 75% of a defense production would be made locally. Point number 1. Point number 2, he has not said by a public sector or a private sector. In addition to this, there was another announcement in the same press conference and immediately after this. And it was that henceforth, over here, no time limit, continuous supply. Henceforth, any single defense tender to the tune of rupees 16,000 crore will be made only by local purchases. Is it not an impetus? And then few months down the line, our sedate but firm defense minister, Rajnath Singh ji, being a senior politician, he made a fantastic statement. And he said that till now, our country was treated as defense importer. Slowly, we became import substitutes.
Yes.
And given I'm using the word in a favorable term, the brashness of our Prime Minister, he said in one of his Mann Ki Baat, days are gone when India will be treated merely as a defense importer. I am becoming a defense exporter. बस एक्सपोर्ट का पैसा कहाँ से आता है? गवर्नमेंट थोड़ी देगा allocation से. And that's why that FDI, when I was expecting this kind of a question, but not for defense. And that's why when Chandra has talked about FDI, I said, sir, these allocations never merely come by way of money, they come by way of a technology. Just take a classic example. When Mazgaon Dock receives an export order for 17 submarines, is it not a defense money? When Hindustan Aeronautics Limited receives an export order for 167 vehicles or the vessels, is it not a defense money? Sir, extrapolate it to space research because it is related to that as well. Space research happens to be one of the component as far as the defense is concerned.
Shekhar, and even testimony to this,
I'm
what
coming-
you're,
I'm coming to
please
that.
continue.
Exactly, I'm coming to that.
Hmm.
See, this man took oath on 26th of May 2014 for the first time as a Prime Minister. And his first public function was at ISRO in
Yes.
2014. There we launched 9 satellites in a single day. That was a national record. 2019, this man becomes a Prime Minister again, by coincidence or otherwise. Again, his first public engagement is at ISRO. We launched 107 satellites in a single day. It's a world record. These 107 satellites were not only of India or our country. Out of these 107, at least 94 were from 14 different countries.
Yes.
Is it not an extra potential? Point number one. Point number two, sir, extrapolate. He mentioned about oil, and that's why I didn't go by it. And the same logic applies, which I given while talking about education expenditure. Sir, budgetary allocation are merely giving you a figure what government intends to do. That doesn't mean that that is the only amount that sector would receive. There are various other contributors. If you go to the site of a defense ministry, you will see that day by day, the number of countries who are placing the defense material related orders, number of countries are going up, frequency is going up. Certainly, defense is not contributing that much what America gets from defense, or what Russia gets from defense, or what Australia gets from defense. But sir, my defense expenditure also goes down. It's not a coincidence that Australian Prime Minister has a teletat with my Prime Minister. And besides thanking each other and praising the Dhokla and the Sabarmati Ashram, he says that henceforth, Australia will allow the naval bases placed in Pacific for testing of the Indian vessels. Is it not an import substitution for me and extra income? मुझे खिसे से तो देना नहीं है ना, मेरा काम तो हो गया, ये TTMM हो गया ना. Number one. Number two, most importantly, the basket of instruments which I am exporting and basket of countries to whom I am exporting is increasing. Government is harping on it. Because when we are talking about defense expenditure, let us be very clear. We may be vague or naive in first 20 years of our independence. But especially from 1970, when Indira ji became our Prime Minister, barring the exception of a tenure of Vishwanath Pratap Singh, H.D. Devegowda and Inder Kumar Gujral, if there is one commonality between all the prime ministers of our country, including Dr. Manmohan Singh, is we have always said that this is an allocation in indicative in nature, not exclusive in nature. और सब ऐसा होता है. Now defense itself is triggering your problems. तो मैं upfront जाके कहने नहीं सकता. पहले ही अमेरिका मेरे पे खफा है. मैं कहूंगा now I am at 10 lakh crore. वो चिल्लाएगा ना. मैं कितना भी बोलूं, मुझे वो बैलेंस करना होता है ना. It is not that rupee is weak, but dollar is becoming strong. What nonsense. That is a politics. The same thing happens as far as the defense is concerned. I can't go on beyond that. As a country, and third and most important thing, sir, it is that internal expenditure of defense is undergoing a change. Now it is action oriented. That is the only department which gives you the dear allocation at the time of a budget. Go to economic survey. How much money they have spent on what? The age profile of Indian Army is going down. And that's why my salary expenditure of Army is going down. Is that not more money?
Thank you so much. So shall we conclude? Yes? Everybody is hungry. So my last question to Shekhar, to you and Chandra sir also. But in brief, I expect brief answer about this. You gave 7 marks to this budget. You gave 8 marks to this budget. Have you ever given more marks to any budget? And what was it? And why?
Yes, I have given more marks. First ever budget as a finance minister being prepared and presented by Dr. Manmohan Singh. Because, not only because I love Dr. Manmohan Singh as a person or a finance minister, and not only because he had personally invited me and I had a discussion for more than 15 hours with him. And out of that, for 13 hours, he was also speaking, more importantly. That is not a reason. It was much more all-encompassing and matured. We may hate him as a prime minister, but as a finance minister, he has done a stellar role. And most importantly, the way in which he gave a financial logic of my 2 devaluations in that budget, I will never ever forget, because that is the stepping stone of my economic reform. So if any one of us in this room has to be grateful that politician has helped me as far as my career is concerned, it was that budget.
Thank you. Chandra sir?
Yeah,
Same.
91, 92 and 92, 93.
And particularly with the context of the world at that time, liberalization, global economics, everything. So thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for enlightening us. So that's it. Do you want to say something as thank you? Okay.
Call a person to say thank you. All right, you have to wait for some 5-10 more minutes. We are yet to finish, sir. The most important job is remaining. But indeed, it was fantastic session. I think it was more interesting than the yesterday's budget session and India-New Zealand match. So what we have learned, I think it was about not the budget, but reading between the lines, learning about the undertone of the budget and not just the 36 pages of budget, right? So just to wind up the session and to give away the vote of thanks, I would like to call the Chief Operating Officer and Head of the Department, Dr. Amit Oak, sir, on the stage.
Good afternoon. I would like to just state that today is Magh Shukla Dwadashi, म्हणजे भीष्म द्वादशी. आणि आता 1:45 वाजलेत. आकाशातही चंद्र नाहीये, पण विद्यालंकारच्या या ऑडिटोरियममध्ये 3 चंद्र आहेत. And another important thing I would like to mention on this platform, that I'm really thankful. I don't want to make it as an obvious vote of thanks, because each one of them are related to Vidyalankar with one aspect or other. But I'm really thankful that we understood today that budget is nothing to worry about, but budget is nothing to fear about. Budget is just intention. तो एक विचार आहे. आणि आता मी असं बोलल्यानंतर सौरभ सर परत माझ्याकडे बघतील, कारण मिलिंद सर हेच सांगत असतात की विचार मांडा. So I think so Saurabh sir is more enlightened today that what exactly budget is. And when Vishwas sir and Milind sir asked for budget, what exactly has to be presented, now we are very clear. So it's very thankful to you. And when we ask for budgets for components, for faculty, and Soni sir, you got what budget is. So when you are asking me get budget approved from Milind sir, so first give me your vichar, your intentions, what you want to do. Accordingly we think and things will happen. So I'm thankful to both Chandrahas and Chandrasekhar sir that you made it very clear that how we have to really approach towards this budget topic, how we have to digest budget. I keep on telling my finance students that financial statement analysis, you don't have to do the numbers. You have to read the annual report and try to understand. In similar ways, budget, you have to understand what is the intention of the giver, the one who has declared, one has announced the budget. It was very lucidly explained to us. It was very directly explained to us with a lot of synonyms, a lot of examples, and that is what it makes difference. So I would like to thank first Chandra sir. He made it very mandatory. As an economist, he tried to make a point ki adhatat nasel to gorat yenar nahi. So you need to make your basics fundamental very clear. When Chandrasekhar Tilak took over, he spoke about what exactly he wanted to about the budget. He played a very good debating role, whereby he tried to contradict. He showed it. They have mimed it inside. That how you could refute and make your point and try to explain the same concept in a different way. It's a perspective. Trupti, what I had discussed with you, that's the difference what Chandrasekhar Kulkarni makes when he coordinates, moderates, and also plays to the gallery. And that is the difference why I wanted to bring Chandrasekhar Kulkarni on this platform for all of us to learn how to actually try to, what I can say, tie the shoe knots which are been untied by all these stalwarts. So, Chandra Kulkarni, thank you very much. And after I made these remarks, I don't know whether I'm going to stand here, but this budget was very well explained, and I think so our management, Milind sir also would understand how exactly you should be free to decimate those budget figures and give it to us. So, Milind sir, thank you in advance. And each one of you, thank you for being here. And I hope you have understood the concept of budget, which I am going to take up in the second half during the lecture. So a direct action about it. So thank you once again on behalf of Vidyananka Jnanapith Trust for being here. Thank you very much. We'll end this session by the national anthem. Praveen.